Thanks to our sponsor, DoneDeal.ie, we bring you Business Bites. The best bits of that great business show served up in individual servings.
DoneDeal Motors is home to Ireland's largest range of new and premium used cars. That's why you'll find cars from Audi and BMW dealerships on DoneDeal. Are you looking for a 7-seater to accommodate your growing family? Maybe you're after a luxury saloon to make a statement. We have the car for you. You'll also find Ireland's largest range of electric cars to help you make the switch. Visit DoneDeal.ie today to start the search for your next car.
From episode 133, we were joined by Richard Phelan, founder of Dynamic Events, and Brian O'Connor, who has just bought the events company. 9 months ago, on episode 91, we had Ireland's best beard on the show. It's owned by Blessington Wicklow-based events organiser Niall O'Connor. Back then, Niall told us about how, as COVID hit, the phones at the company where he worked, Dynamic Events, just stopped, and how they dragged their business online, and things seem to be rocking, as they say, because last year they organised 850 events for 400 customers. But there's been a big change. Dynamic Events founder Richard Phelan has sold out to Niall, and they're both here in studio to explain why. Richard Phelan, Niall O'Connor, welcome to that great business show.
Great, thank you very much indeed.
That sound there is Richard Phelan. Richard, you've sold out a really interesting business. Why? You're a young man. You're 61, you told me. You're young.
Yeah. It was a very easy decision, actually, because I started 27 years ago. I had a partner originally for about 7 years, and my wife jumped into the business about 20 years ago. And I identified, I think 6 years ago, that we didn't really have a successor because we got 3 kids. 2 of them are in the music business, music producers, and my daughter's a young artist. And so they were never going to come into this business. And I also had a man in Niall who was very, very eager and hungry for involvement. So it was, I had to say to myself, where's this going to go? Am I going to be able to sell it? It's a services business. Really, the value of it is in the product that the gear that we have and the people and the relationships. So, and I identified that Niall was the sort of guy that wasn't going to hang around if he didn't have something there to look forward to. And I was proven right and very, very lucky. So I decided that we threw it out about 6 years ago, and then about 2.5 years ago, we kind of we started nailing it down. And
Niall, you didn't tell me 9 months ago when you were on that you had already been beginning the process of taking it over, did you?
No, I didn't. It would have been kept under wraps at that time, I'd imagine. But no, I'm in a very lucky position to be where I am today. As Richard said, I joined kind of halfway through the lifetime of the business as it is today. Richard founded it in 1996.
You joined in 2010.
2010. So, and that was whatever, the business is 14 years old at that stage, and 13 years later, I'm lucky enough to be able to be the managing director and owner.
And you're taking on big responsibilities because, I'll go back to Richard for a second, letting go. This is your baby.
Yeah.
And I love talking to people in business about letting go of that, something that they have built. And what's it like?
Letting go, I had a very interesting conversation with Grant Thornton did the deal for us. And we're very, very lucky to have a company called Curtin & Co., who are our advisors and accountants, and still Niall's accountant. And they were certainly my guardian angel in terms of bringing me through the process, because it's so letting go.
His first. You were just going to use some words there that I was wondering. Was it difficult?
Was it difficult? Not for me. No. Because I was asked by the managing partner, Grant Thornton, is this your baby? And what would happen if you got knocked out tomorrow? And I said, is it my baby? I said, of course, it's what I've created and I loved it and I've had a great time doing it. But no, I've bigger life than my job. And I got great kids and great friends and family and lovely home, and I like traveling. So I had already made that decision, no, it wasn't. And if I got knocked over in the morning, I knew myself and Niall had been fairly well down the road, so I knew I had somebody good. He just wasn't there yet at that stage.
But you did tell me just before coming on air that you have a big bucket list that you're going to try to fill.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're still an entrepreneur. I can smell off you that you are an entrepreneur. So you're not going away. You're not going to sit on a beach in Spain or something.
No. So you ask this. Interestingly enough, I think I walked out of the office and handed over the keys to Niall about 3 weeks ago.
How did that feel?
I felt great. I swear to God, I didn't even have a flutter. I walked out the door. I've been a long time leaving. And I told Niall this once through the phases that, yeah, sure, there was kind of an emotional piece every now and again. But then when your vision for your future well outweighs this, tie to something that you created, this was a once-off opportunity to find somebody like Niall, as incredible as he is, and to be able to secure our future. So it was just a no-brainer.
Oh, come on. You're going to do something else. I know it.
Well, the thing is that what I said to myself, I'm not going to concentrate on what I'm going to do because I just wanted to get this thing done. We're going to travel a lot. We sail a good bit as well. And we said, we're just going to enjoy this year. And I'll do something. Of course I'll do something. I have a good bit to offer still. But I don't want it to dominate my life either. But no, I'm not going to be potting plants.
Okay, Niall. It's all very well working with somebody that you trust and somebody who's been in the business for so long. And you can always, when things do go wrong, and we saw that with COVID. I mean, COVID, the story you told, was just everybody's nightmare. Just nothing. An eerie silence. But things are humming now. And I presume you've got big plans? Yeah,
well, obviously there's been massive changes in the last couple of years between coming into COVID, working through COVID, then the far side of COVID. But what the pandemic did, and I'm nearly tired of talking about it at this stage because I think everyone is. It's past tense now at this stage. But what it did was it grew our customer base massively because we went from being a domestic provider of in-person events to being this global provider of online activities and event management. So our customer base grew. So what we developed out at was we can deliver in-person events globally, but from our base in County Wicklow by using a remote host. And tell me, because you just told me about one that you just did the other day in Sydney, Australia. It's Sydney, Australia, yes. That is mad. I love it. I just... so have to bottle that. But in the last, in the 2 years, of course, we were working with companies all over the world. Like on Wednesday, we've an event for Google in San Francisco, but that's a fully virtual event where everyone is on Google Meets and we've an online presenter. But the special thing about the remote hosting piece is that we can deliver the in-person experience, which trumps the online experience, of course. But we can do that now globally by using a remote host. So in Sydney, what we would have done was a company would have had a business conference in a hotel in the centre of Sydney. So they would have done their business updates and everything in the morning. They would have had lunch, and then after lunch they head back to their meeting room, and then they switch on the projector or the screen, and there is one of our event hosts explaining what they're going to do next. So for that particular one, we did what we call an urban adventure, which is like a GPS-based treasure hunt. We use an app which can be downloaded onto your phone. We delivered the briefing, and then they're in their teams and they head out around Sydney or whatever area they're in and complete team challenges. They have loads of fun. They do some trivia. They produce some short photos and videos of the fun that they're doing. And that all gets submitted back through the cloud where we score that content based on creativity and humour. So there's always a competitive element to it. So they're out and about for an hour and a half doing their activity. Then they come back to the same conference room. Bang, our remote host is back up on screen and we show back the best photos and the videos that they just produced. Creates a great atmosphere in the room and it's as if we were there with them. So we can deliver that anywhere in the world. So that was in Sydney, different time zones away. We've done it in Singapore, in Vienna, in Frankfurt, in the US. So, so there are, and we discussed this the last time you were on, there are no borders. So that means that you can bring this business anywhere, to any size, because that fellow Richard Phelan was holding you back. You told me that, didn't you? I don't think I did that. He certainly never held me back in any sense. But the great thing about our relationship over the years was that he would never hold me back. He allowed me that let me off, do my own thing, make decisions, come up with ideas, implement ideas, without kind of being very protective of his business. Like, he allowed me to treat the business nearly as my own.
So you had 15 odd at the moment. Where will it be in 2 years' time? Because I presume if you're talking to either Grant Thornton or to Curtin & Co. or whoever, you've got your plan, your business plan. What is the business plan?
Well, the funny thing about business plans is that we live in a very agile world where things change dramatically. So you could plan for 2, 3, 4 years and things can change. But we've been very good at that. We've a great team of people, agile people, dynamic people, who react to these challenges. And that's what made us get through those difficult times. When something bad happens, the energy changes. Everyone's on board, and we can make things happen no matter what the challenge is. So I'm not going to plan 5 and 10 years in advance.
But you do have a vision. You must have a vision to say, when you're going off to sleep at night or whatever, say, do you know what? Yeah. If I hired another 3 people, we could go there or do that, or hire another 5 people. What's the big plan there?
Well, the big plan for us is that so our business is split pretty 50-50 between corporate team building and event management. So we run a lot of business events. They could be single-day conferences, multi-day conferences, where companies getting together. It could be a sales kickoff or a product launch or whatever it's going to be. So we've been doing that for many years, but we never really concentrated on it. So we made a decision maybe 18 months ago to concentrate on that. We promoted Lauren internally to head of events. Lauren started with us as a graduate out of event management, and she's grown very quickly into that role. So what that's allowed us to do is grow that side of the business, where companies now, they used to stumble across us via our team building to, oh, you guys do conference and events as well. Where now it's the opposite, because we're doing more and more of these events, and people are coming to us to do those, really complicated conferences where there could be ticketing, there's registration, there's AV, there's photography, there's multiple suppliers, there could be sponsors. So we've built processes and systems now to be able to facilitate that type of work, and that's where the concentration is for me anyway over the short term, because the team building is something, our bread and butter for the last 25 years. So now we're growing into one of the leading providers of the event management. So that's where.
And size, what do you think you might grow to?
I'm not really going to, plan what size we're going to grow to. The business over the years has always kind of grown very organically, where we react to demand, we go after business, and then if we feel like that we need to add 1 or 2 people, that's what we do. But it's not going to be, I'm going to go out in the morning and hire 10 people.
Okay, that's fair. Richard, what would the big lesson that you would teach Niall be? Don't do this, or do that. Because obviously you've been there.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I think what you had asked me earlier on is, where's the pain and where's the of leaving your something that you created. I think you're not wrong in saying that it is an emotional journey. Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm sure it's an emotional journey leaving anything at all, any business or a job that you were in. But what I had to do, though, is I had to make sure that I empowered Niall. And it just so happens, I was just talking earlier that it's part of what I always did, because I always found it too hard to be able to micromanage people. It wasn't my style. So I needed to empower people to make their own decisions. And so that suited Niall and everybody that's in that company. And that's why there was 5 of us there over 20 years. And they make the decisions and I trust them. And we're all in it together. If they're wrong, it doesn't really matter. We'll just make a good one the next time. So in order to make sure that he doesn't have to micromanage the business, he needs to make sure that he empowers people to. And what I actually was working on for the last 2.5 years was to make myself redundant from my own company. And that is a journey that a lot of people will not like and not want to.
What was the hardest part of that?
The hardest part of that, I'm not really sure, because
Let me give you an example. I run my own business, and I always believe my decisions and my thinking is always better than anybody else. Of course it's not.
Yeah.
But that thinking. So when you are trying to make yourself redundant, you are, as you say, handing over to Niall.
Yeah.
So you've got to say, Niall, your thinking is better than mine now. Something like that.
It's not that the thinking is better. Is that I think Niall said I gave him a clear path and financed a lot of the things that Niall, and of course the business is where it is because of Niall today. Do you know what I mean? Because a long time ago, we allowed all of those technical products that Niall is talking about happen, and Niall was the champion of all of those. So no matter what way you say, it's definitely an emotional journey. What's the particular one? You just have to keep focused on what it is that you want, and you're able to get rid of that. But you have little wobbles every now and again. You say, am I doing the right thing? I really love this. But if you don't grab the opportunity as it's floating past, you'll regret it. And I've been talking to a lot of people who own small SMEs, and it amazed me the fact that none of them seem to have a plan in place.
That's because they love their businesses.
Yeah, but the thing about it is you've got to figure out then at the back end how you're going to get out of it and how you're going to try and monetize it and make it your lifetime, because it hasn't all been sailing. Like, we've had foot and mouth, we had ash cloud, we had a recession. So this journey hasn't been plain sailing.
I love actually people who, like you, just you spill out all of that stuff, because people forget. You know that we only remember back about 5 odd years.
Yeah.
Because now you reminded me of foot and mouth, the ash cloud, the this and this.
Yeah. And obviously the recession was a tough one, and that's just around when Niall came in after that business. And I think a lot of people were exposed. Thankfully, we hadn't got a whole lot of loans or anything, but we didn't have enough of reserves to be able to keep us going for a long, long time. Thankfully, we got through it, and from that moment on, we just kept building reserves, and that was the whole key to it.
I think that he's been beaten out of it. I think, hasn't he? It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. No, certainly not. He's just allowed me to take the reins like that. So.
Which is cool. Now, final question, both of you. You know what I'm going to ask you, because I remember asking you before, but I can't remember what you said. Niall, what or who would you hire in a heartbeat?
Who would I hire in a heartbeat? Well, I think it was here 9 months ago I said Jurgen Klopp. He could be out of a job soon, who knows? So maybe I'll stick with him. No, but other than that, I have to say that the people we do employ are just fantastic. It's not just me, it's not just Richard. All these things have to happen.
No, you can't go for the easy option. You have to give me a name.
A name. Well, I'll have to stick with Jurgen Klopp then.
Okay, well, I'm not going to start arguing with you. Actually, last week somebody nominated me, and I said, "Oh, no, that's not allowed." But then again, I said, "No, my ego's okay." So I said, "No, I'll take a bit of that." Richard Phelan, who would you take as your heart in a heartbeat?
An individual, yeah. I think
you can have a few if you want.
Okay, well, I think
Niall's been here before.
Well, I think Johnny Sexton's probably has to be on top of the list.
But I tell you one thing, he'd put manners on you.
But with that's what I'd be afraid of. So it's probably going to be Mac Hansen. Because we have a lot of fun in our. We did have a lot. I had a lot of fun working with our guys, and it's funny. I always think it was one of those jobs that you come home really, really happy, because you get a lot of, we used to call it We Are Fab file, but now it's a CSAT reports, customer satisfaction, and they always just tell us how great we are. So that means a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Have you actually quit now? Are you going into the office?
No, absolutely not.
You're gone.
No, gone. And I would not have liked to have been around as doing another 6 months or 12 months. So that's why I've been leaving for 2.5 years.
I understand, but that you had to lock the door for one last time. The following Monday, did you say, gotta go into work, and your wife, who Sarah said, no, you're not going to work?
Not at all. No. I've got a lot of things that I like doing. Yeah.
Listen, I will be back to you, Niall, to find out about how you have grown this business in the next couple of years. So thanks again for joining us both, Niall O'Connor and Richard Phelan of Dynamic Events. And if anybody wants, you are actually going to start hiring, I think, are you, Niall?
Well, there was always, opportunities at our place. And as we get into the season, yes, we'll definitely be looking.
And you're looking for young creatives?
Just looking for great personalities. They don't have to be from any particular expertise or backgrounds, just nice people or good with people.
Okay. Guys, thanks so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Want to increase sales, reduce overheads, and provide customers with a better service? Then use Big Red Web, the easiest way to develop and maintain your website. It gives you powerful business reporting, digital marketing, and automatically integrates with the award-winning Big Red cloud accounting software. It's a game changer for SME businesses. It's so good, the government gives you a €2,500 grant towards it. Big Red Web, e-commerce made simple. BigRedCloud.com/web.
De facto shaving oil, made only from natural oils. Nothing nasty on your skin.
This interview was first posted on episode 133 of That Great Business Show, essential listening for anyone organising a staff event. For more great business insights, do listen back to our entire back catalogue of That Great